Hi guys, this is Michelle, Deception Bytes. I sure wish I could tell you that we're picking up from where I left off with the Q post, but unfortunately Q has not posted for 5 days, and I know some people are very disconcerted about that. I really don't think, I do think we have to worry in one sense, because I think there's something very serious going on. The 8chan board was under massive attack. It was down for a good amount of time. What was it, yesterday, I think? So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I know that's the question on everybody's mind. What the heck is going on? And it's really almost hard to get information because the Patriot community is so scattered right now. And it's scattered because, you know, some people are getting kicked off and going to other platforms, and some people are kicked off of Twitter, and some people are coming back with other names and starting new channels, and it's getting confusing to stay, keep up on everyone. So I don't know what the next little while is going to bring us. Unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I do want to touch on some things and give us some clarity to a few things that I think we need clarity on. One, I wanted to let you know, and I picked this up from someone's Twitter account, and says, "This is pretty serious. The source of Q is down. That is the last post made on Q research. Now all of 8chan is locked up, and Political is locked up, the political forum. Server crashed or hostile takedown. Either way, silence." Now, down here, and that was, I believe that was yesterday that was posted, and yesterday 8chan had massive problems, and apparently, from what I understand, is it's back up, but there's just no sense of, there's a lot of shills in there, a lot of, it's, the way it was described to me is like a bunch of kindergartners have taken it over, that everyone's just posting, there's no sense of organization or direction or anything. So I don't know what's going on there. And I don't know if or when it'll be sorted out. But I think it's important. We do have a lot of information that Q has left us. And I think it's important that we understand that. Now, I may be using this time to go back and visit some posts and dig in a little bit deeper. Because remember, he keeps saying you have more than you know. And I think that that's important that we still stay focused on what he was saying, because he may be silent, but he left us with a lot of words, so, and directions, really. He's dropped a lot of clues that some of us would have no idea about had it not been for Q. So we know that 8chan is in disarray. It's being under attack, and here is something from a developer. I got this from YouTube as well, and it was obviously posted on the board, on the 8chan board. When does it say? Yesterday. So, no, sorry, the 21st. And this person says, "Hi, I'm a developer at YouTube, and I've come here to warn you all about something the development team was ordered to do from the higher ups at the company. Currently, internet users are flagged in the system based on Google and YouTube search histories and websites visited. We compile data and user information about which sites are visited most frequently and come up with a personality profile we have set categories up for. One of these categories is listed as high risk, which are usually internet users who frequent conservative message boards and websites, view YouTube videos. We also monitor and other such areas of the internet." Now, I've known this for a while, and that's why I think it's important that if you're going to go and search on the internet, we automatically go to Google. But I've started going to DuckDuckGo because I don't want Google to know where I'm searching. It's none of their business. And I certainly don't want them, pigeonholing me into a category based on my internet searches, because I know what category they'll pigeonhole me into. Cuckoo. because I'm interested in conspiracy topics and so forth, and I'm interested in doing deeper research and almost never accept something at face value. So yeah, that's a good thing to know that they're doing that, so that we can avoid it and not play into their little games. So let's go on. So the question is, what's going on? And I think that that's what everybody is thinking right now. Now I'm taking you out to someone's Twitter page, and it's called Trump in 2020. This has nothing to do with Trump. Trump is not running this, but it's somebody that is evidently a follower of Trump, and they've got some really good posts. So this person said, "This is the scariest post I may ever have to make in my lifetime, but it answers so many things. QAnon, the 10 days of darkness, archive everything, phase 2, Dilly warning us Trump will use the emergency broadcast system to contact us, everything. Read this in its entirety. God bless us all." And here it is. Let me make this bigger, so that you can read along with me. And maybe you've seen this. I hope you have. But if you haven't, I want to make sure that you have. So this was February 21st, 2018. And which is interesting because that's the same day that developer came on and said, what they were going to do and what they were doing. I don't know what happened on 8chan. I only know the current result, anarchy. It appears that whatever protections Q might have been providing the board are gone, and the board has fallen into absolute anarchy with random banning of every other ID, more shills than there are people signed on, and basically an atmosphere of chaos as if it were taken over by kindergartners. Yeah, that's where I got that from, is here. Currently, the board has no focus, no purpose, and no order whatsoever. This may or may not change at any time, but indications are, once again, that Q is done and the board has been discarded. Now, I don't personally agree with that. I really don't. Because I think that if Q was, done and was going to be discarding the board, he would have said so. Because Q has been pretty good about posting regularly and keeping us informed about what's going on. So I take issue with that particular point, but let's go on. My own take on it is that Q has done what he came there to do and no longer has any use for the board. My opinion is that this is because the grand finale is that close. Now, again, I don't agree with this person, and that's fine. You may agree with them, and we can agree to disagree. That's no problem at all. But I don't agree that the grand finale is that close. I think that this is going to go on for years, and I think it's going to take Trump getting elected in 2020, and it's going to take that whole 8 years to clean this up. That's what I personally believe, because it's huge. It's massive. And there's a lot of stuff to be done. I just don't believe it's going to be over that quickly. I would like it to be, but I just don't see how that's possible, because if we were to have military tribunals, they would go on for some time. Anyway, please don't freak out over the next part. It is nothing but my personal speculation. Nobody has confirmed or denied any part of it. It's all coming from my own head. Now, I don't know where this came from, but I believe it was from Dilly, and who apparently has been dropping intel. I really haven't kept up with the Dilly part of this. I know that he is somebody that has information. There's no question about that. But he's definitely not Q or on Q's team or anything like that. So that's where I think this came from. But whoever has been posting this has not, stated the source of it. So anyway, the bad guys have effectively taken over the internet. Well, yeah, I'd say so. censoring it to the point of making it useless for the very freedom of speech that got Trump elected. Facebook, Twitter, ScrewTube, Giggle, etc. are no longer even attempting to hide their final push to censor and disarm the population, literally and figuratively. And of course, we know that's true. They're shutting down any voice that disagrees with the acceptable narrative, and it's absolutely astounding to me that this is happening in America. That they can just shut you off. They can, they have the power over you being heard or not heard. So, and even if they do allow you to post, they can make it so that, they can shadow ban you, make it so that nobody else can see it. You may think you're communicating with people, but you're not. So, yeah. Certainly the Constitution is under attack. Now, where was I? Okay, in his earliest days, Q stated that they were prepared to do the unthinkable in the event that Trump lost. I personally think the unthinkable is taking down the internet. And since Q said we are now moving up the timetable on February 21st, I believe that's exactly what must happen. There is no other way. Archive everything offline. Q has said it over and over, and he has said that over and over again. And I thought it was because, well, perhaps, there's all these trolls and all these whatever, things disappear from the internet that should be there. And, look at our there's people that had years and years and years and years of video on YouTube, and it's gone. It's just gone. So, but maybe Q knew something that we didn't. So I don't know. How many reasons could there be for this? The internet is going down, and the repeated warnings from Q say that the good guys are taking it down. From there, everything we've heard fits perfectly. The internet goes down, paralyzing the country. Emergency broadcast system goes off nationwide, and martial law is declared. From there, the one mystery post I've read, which I will likely never find again, says that a convention of 50 governors is held to reinstate the Constitution of 1789, which, incidentally, was instated on March 4th, 1789. At which point mass arrests go down, and we hold general elections across the country to install a new government. The post I read said this would be before Easter of this year. It's riveting stuff. Perhaps the mysterious 10 days of darkness is 10 days of no internet, where you cannot even run a debit card to pay for something. The country would be paralyzed. Trump said it would be very, very unfortunate, but there is no other way. The corruption is so bad, running so deep in so many directions that nothing but a full reset and a complete house cleaning of all politicians will do the job. Is it any coincidence that 40 of the 50 governors are in D.C. right now to meet with POTUS? POTUS spoke of a very, very unfortunate stage 2. The night Q disabled his board, we entered stage 2. There is no debate about that. After the Alabama election, POTUS said that the next election would be in a very short time. All signs point to our having days before this all goes down. I'm not saying it's coming. I'm saying that if it were, 100 pieces of the puzzle now fit perfectly and everything is in place. We may well go into the entire summer and nothing ever happens. I am not all-seeing. Look for military movements, higher than normal activity, and I've heard that there has been increased activity. So whether or not that's true, I wouldn't see why these people would lie. But so anyway, look for military movements, higher than normal activity around military bases, calling up of reserves and National Guard. Note, emergency broadcast system tasks at odd times. Here in Georgia, it is always 1 p.m. on the 9th Wednesday of the month. On the chance that it all turns out to be a scam and POTUS was a bad guy and Q was a fake who was only ever here to identify who of us was not communist. If it happens to be that way, there is nothing we could have done, and that will be our fate. There's a time when you just have to let it go and accept that you did what you could. Hopefully, that will not be the case at all. You should worry if this scenario, or something along these lines, doesn't play out, far more than you should worry if it does. Keep your eyes and ears open, expect the best, but prepare for the worst as best you're able to. Either way, HR 1865 or not, the internet is lost. You can't even do a search on the term gun anymore, and that's true. Giggle says no results. The internet is lost. In fact, you can't, from what I've understood, you can't even search for things with gun in it, like burgundy, or anything with the word gun in it. So that's ridiculous. Anyway, the internet is lost. Soon enough, we will be all banned from Twitter anyway, so it just isn't going to matter from this point on. Archive what you can, and maybe we'll get into March, then April, then May, then June, and nothing out of the ordinary ever happens. I'm just assessing what I see, what I know, and drawing conclusions. Maybe I'm dead wrong on all counts. I don't know. Hang on one second till I get this to a place where I can read it again. I mean, if the good guys do take the internet down, I mean, I don't know. I can't even imagine what would happen to the country, because everything would come to a standstill, like flights. Everything is booked online. Everything we do is online. Your banking, everything, all your social media. We live our lives online. Everything's connected to the net. So I really don't even know what would happen if the internet went down. I mean, think of it. Schools, institutions, hospitals. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. But I don't think that this is totally out there. I really don't. And I don't think we know what's going on right now. But there was some other stuff somewhere that I wanted to, but maybe it wasn't on there, maybe it was here. Let me go back to my page here and try and find it. I was sure that I had more information on the attacks that were happening on the maybe it's further down in this. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Sorry. Hang tough for a minute, because I thought that there was some more information here that I wanted to get to you. And okay, maybe not. Okay, I don't know what this is. I just started following this guy, Quinn Michaels, especially his interviews with Goodman. Here he seems to be able to know before just about anyone. Just discovered anonymous hacks the world while everyone else was distracted with QAnon. Well, I will read that on my own time, and if it's anything that we should be concerned about, then I will let you know. But so there's a lot of stuff out here, really. I really think that we need to stay focused on what we need to stay focused on and not get into all this, because there's a lot of disinformation out there that I'm finding, and I have to wade through all this crap just to get to something that, could be a viable scenario. And people are just, saying crazy things like, oh, Trump's lost now and it's up to us and we've got to, whatever. But I would suggest that we need to be prepared. We always should be prepared. Like have your a 30-day supply of your medicine, and get money out of the bank. Have your car filled with gas. Those are just things that we should automatically do anyway, because you never know when there's going to be a crisis. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about, because I found this and it literally made my blood run cold, because I was not aware of this until today. And all of a sudden, Q's words to watch the water popped into my mind, and I went, oh my gosh, this is serious. So I want you guys to be aware of this, because if there's anything to it, I want us to be prepared and to be able to warn others. So let's go out here. Now, apparently on 8chan, Linda Rothschild, and maybe this is old news to everyone. I don't know how I missed this. I really don't, because it seems to me like everybody would have been talking about it, but I don't remember hearing about it, and I think I would remember such a thing. Now, Linda Rothschild posted on 8chan after Q outed her, and Q outed her, doxed her, but he outed her on the forum because she went in there, as an anon, but apparently, Q knew exactly who she was by the code or whatever, and called her out. And it was really interesting, the conversations that took place. And I don't know if you guys have seen this. If you have, forgive me. I would suggest skipping ahead a little bit until I'm over this part. But now we're going to go out and look at the post, but I also want to read what these guys said about it as well. So, and this person says, not all of Lynn's posts are in gray with yellow highlighting. Look for her code in other posts as well. She is one cold bitch, threatens water supply, and that we will all die after watching our children die. Pray against such evil with all your faith. And this is the link to those posts, but I'm going to read some of this stuff first because it's confusing to look at the graphic. I am going to go out there to show you so that you don't think that, we're making this all up or whatever. But edit. Swornly reminded me how we know it is Linda Rothschild, L equals Lynn. It is 100% her. Q can see all and can identify her IP. He addressed her as L before he signed off. He knows it's her. That's why he was speaking to her. Also, Q has been talking about her and the Rothschilds and offering a lot of questions about their satanic parties and practices for about a day or two, and then this happened. Now, this was all around the time when Q was posting Fly, Roth's Fly, and, the pictures of the party and stuff with the satanic horns and all that. So I'm sure you all remember that. So let's take a look. And this person says, I tried to find another copy, but haven't so far. This was one page with all the posts of Lynn and 8chan users. Here is a basic rundown till we find it. Q posted L. I hear you can't sleep much anymore. No, wait. I hear you can't sleep anymore. Don't come here again. Now, I remember reading that in the Q post. And I remember thinking, well, how does he know that she's in there? And it seemed a little bit odd to me. But I didn't know all this other stuff that had gone on around it. So it's all making sense to me now. And it probably made sense to you all a long time ago. And I'm probably just talking to myself at this point. I don't know. But so she said she's having trouble sleeping, whatever. Somebody... don't come here again, Q. Then an ID was determined to be her. I don't remember what the 8chan posts were too well, but her replies are pretty clear. Somebody needled her about not being able to sleep. She replied that she had just finished her Thursday night bottle, adding, we all do it. And this person has put blood, because obviously we don't know, most of us assume that it's alcohol, but not necessarily. Someone might be adrenochrome, for all we know. Someone said she was worried or in trouble, and she said she wasn't the least bit worried. Someone posted that she was done for, more or less, and she said, "You will die of thirst after watching your children die before you." I've filled every plastic jug in the house with water ever since. I did a bit of research wondering if they were going to poison the water supply or something. There is a Nostradamus prophecy of 40 years without rain, la la la. Like, I'm not into all that. But does she just mean she believes in the prophecy? Satan is like Nostradamus. Well, I don't think that that's what she was referring to at all. And then someone said, be sure to put 1 to 2 drops of bleach in each water container to keep it from spoiling like they taught us before Y2K. Never knew that, thanks. Source on Nostradamus prophecy, blah, blah, blah. It's dark. N's final prophecy was something like 1,000. Okay, that's Nostradamus. We're not going to look at that. Y'all can go out and study that on your own time, I guess, because there's too much in that can't be, that could apply to a lot of things. Anyway, thanks for summary. As for poisoning water supply in Q's recent Watch the Water, I'm wondering whether all these recent insane amounts of seized fentanyl have anything to do with that. One recent headline was 33 pounds of fentanyl, enough to kill millions of people. That was just recently in February 2018. In September 2017, New York City seized enough fentanyl to kill 32 million people. Newest Q posts, Stanislav Lunev, according to Lunev, a probable scenario in the event of war would have been poisoning the Potomac River with chemical biological weapons, targeting the residents of Washington, D.C. He also considered it likely that GRU operatives placed poison supplies near the tributaries to major U.S. reservoirs. These allegations have been confirmed by former SVR officer Kuzmanov, who was responsible for transporting pathogens from around the world for Russia's program of biological weapons in the 1980s and the beginning of the 1990s. He described a variety of biological warfare acts that would be carried out on the order of the Russian president in the event of hostilities, including poisoning public drinking water supplies and food processing plants. So, just to give some context to this, if we believe Q, he ID'd her IP, logged on as long as L is Lynn for 2 to 3 days before 12/7. Q is posting about the Rothschilds' satanic roots. He had posted Al fly, and 2 days later, Al F. Why? I'm having a brain fade moment. Resigned. He had also posted fly Roth fly. Fly Eagles fly is a hashtag LDR used on her Twitter with pictures of the eagle on the Eagles. The same day that she posts pictures of the Eagles with the tag, people ask her about her flight, or she complains about the airline. Before this set of posts, people had decided to start bombing her Twitter, and it was filled with hateful posts. Then this happened. And the person says, I saw this too, link not working. And he said, I have the screenshot. Thanks. I'm just seeing if there's anything else. Okay, let's go to the link then. Now, let me make this bigger for you so you can follow. Make it a little bit smaller so I can get some bearing. So, this is Q right here, and he's saying, and I'm sure you'll find this familiar because we went over all these posts, but he said, can you find a picture of al-Walid and Hussein or Clinton or other U.S. politicians? And he put L, heard you can't sleep anymore. Don't come here again, Q. Now, he knew that she was in the forum at that point and addressed her. And then Q says here, and it's the same, I'm just seeing how far apart these are. Oh, just minutes later, he says, fly, Roth, fly, sweet dreams, Q. So he was speaking to her at that point because he puts L here for Lynn. And then right just a few minutes later, like 2 minutes later, he puts Fly Roth's Fly. So we know that this is Rothschild, and we know that Q knows from IP address who's in there, who's in that forum. So then an anonymous user says, LOL, drunk pic post Q. Now this right here, 78D855, that's her ID. That is Linda Rothschild right there. So anytime we see that, we know that that is, just like Q has his own code, she has her own code. Everybody that posts has their own code. So she says, LOL, drunk pic post Q. Maintain your military bearing. So she's attempting to dox him. Maybe she knows who he is. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. But she's saying, LOL, drunk pic post Q. So take a picture of yourself drunk, I guess is what she's saying. Now, this is Q, and he responds, and this is just a few minutes later. Like, he responded Fly Ross Fly at 22:27. She replied back to him 22:29, 2 minutes later, and then right after, almost within seconds after, he says for Green. And of course, Green was the guy that died in the plane crash over the Rothschilds' estate. There was something going on there with that, and something went wrong. So he said for Green, Q. Then an anonymous user is asking, and he's directing it at 52154, which is 12154. 121 check. Okay, 52154. Oh, okay, right here. He's directing this to Lynn, who just posted, LOL, drunk pic post Q. And this person is asking L. And then this is Lynn de Rothschild responding. It says, end of the Thursday night bottle. We all do it. So I would be more inclined to think that she's talking about booze, because she says drunk pic post, and she's implying like, oh yeah, we know you do it too, Q. So end of the Thursday night bottle. We all do it. And then this is, who is this? Just an anonymous user. Don't know who that is. Responds to this end of Thursday night bottle and says, how's it feel to see it all crumbling, Al? And so this person says, this is just an anonymous user, and is responding to this person up here who said L, saying, post again, L, I don't have location yet. Now, she responds right here. We know this is her code. She says to that person that asked that, to post again, I don't have your location yet, and you never will. So this is just an anonymous user. He says, apparently like insomnia. 52215. Where's that? 522. Up here. How's it feel to see it all crumbling? That's who he's directing that to. And then he says, apparently like insomnia. That's how it feels. Excuse me. Now, Lynn responds and says, never even close to concern. Then an anonymous user is responding to 52201. 52201 up here, and you never will. And it says, so true, you have what many men do not. And then this is just an anonymous user, says, ever heard of remote viewing? It's a thing. Of course, we know what remote viewing is, and it's astral travel, and it's there are people that do possess that ability, and they're able to see places far away and see what's happening there. It is a form of the occult, but there are people that do possess that ability. So this person's asking, ever heard of remote viewing? It's a thing. And then Lynn responds with this kind of funny quip, looking at my remote now. And then this is just an anonymous user and says, you think you are invincible? And she responds and says, pretty close, child. And then this is an anonymous user and says, who else has been drinking, Lynn? And then this person, who are they responding to? 52232, 52236. I don't see. Sorry, sometimes knowing who they're responding to gives us a little bit more insight. I don't see it. Unless I'm blind. You are all probably just staring at it going, it's right there. I don't see it. Anyway, it says, then what are you doing here? Now, let's go up here because there's some missing. There's some down further, but they only took a screenshot, and so these are the only ones we can see. And I wouldn't even know where to find these in the forum now because everything is, I don't know. I don't even think it's all there anymore. So, this is what Lynn says. Yep. Now, she's responding to 52279. I think that's important. 52279. 522. Okay, I think 52279 is down further, and we can't see that because they've taken a screenshot, but they haven't taken a screenshot of everything. So she's responding to someone, and she says, yep, you die of thirst after watching your children die first. Wow. Now, don't you think that that's a little interesting considering Q said watch the water? I think it's interesting. Then she responds again and says, hell is imaginary. Thirst is real. You will see soon, sweetie. Wow. Hell is imaginary. Thirst is real. You will see soon, sweetie. She better hope hell is imaginary. Really. And I'm not saying that. I hate it when people say, oh, they deserve to burn in hell. I mean, we all deserve to burn in hell. We've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. You know, we are all sinners. And, you know, I don't, it's not God's will that any go to hell. And it really isn't. Like, even, you know, his wish would be for these people to repent and do the right thing. That's what the will of God would be, according to his word. But really, I don't know. I don't understand the depth of evil of these people. It's beyond me because I cannot comprehend that level of depravity. I really can't. So then an anonymous user says, what does thirst mean? And this is her reply is very interesting. Eat some popcorn and you tell me. Now, I don't think anybody can eat popcorn without something to drink because it's salty and it just makes you thirsty. So that's interesting. So she's talking about thirst, like needing water. That's interesting. Now, this anonymous user says, not your sweetie, asshole. I'm just reading what's here. You have like maybe another few hours to beg Jesus for your soul. I'm going to make popcorn and watch TV. And then another anonymous user just says, "Not if POTUS has control of the military. You don't have much of a chance if he sends Delta SEAL Team 6 after you and your IRK." I think he means ilk. That's what I'm hearing. And she replies, "Well, they can always be paid a little better." Whew. So basically what she's saying is, the POTUS could send SEAL Team 6 after her, and because they have all the money in the world, just about, she says, yeah, we could buy them. We could buy them. Yeah, well, and they do. They either buy them or they silence them. That's what happens. And I really don't believe that the SEALs could be bought out like that. But so I don't think that that's too much of a worry. Anyway, then this anonymous user says, "You must be delusional. Most of them," he means most of them are patriots. They love this country. And then it says, "Them, your dirty money." I think what he's saying is they love this country more than they do your dirty money. And listen to her reply. "We don't use dirty money. Papers for the puppets." Whoo! She had to have been drinking. Seriously, she had to have been drinking when she did this, because I just don't see. I mean, I know that they're right in your face and they're like they're not worried. But wow. Anyway, so then an anonymous user says, "I found her. Follow my ID back a few posts." And then another anonymous user says, "Eagles." Now I'm not sure who he's replying to. 52347. Oh, it's in the post that we can't see. So anyway, I don't know about that. And then this anonymous user says, "Haha, I can't even type." And that's the last that we can see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at those other links to see if there's any of the links that show us more. Okay. Let's see if this shows us. What's this? I think this is the same. Yep, it's the same. That's no help. That may be all there is. I think that they said that they couldn't find the posts now, so that may be all that's left of them. I don't know, but what is left is very, very interesting. So, now, let's go back. Now, Q told us to watch the water, right? Well, there is a predicted water crisis coming. And I have seen this on several sources and several good sources. Now, this one I grabbed from End Times Prophecy Report, but the only reason I grabbed it from there is because it agreed with everything I read everywhere else. Let's just take a look at this. And they're saying because of climate change and all this that several states, I mean, actually most states are going to experience water shortage. And it's interesting too that they've set up laws against collecting rainwater, and they don't want you to dig your own well. And I mean, they're making us dependent on municipal water for the most part, unless you're way out where you can't get that. So it's interesting. Now, now this is from 2007, but I saw things posted, as late as 2016, saying that they were predicting in the next 5 years a severe water shortage. So actually, I didn't realize this one was so old. But this is interesting. Other super wealthy have quietly bought up the world's water supplies over the last couple decades. Swiss food conglomerate Nestle's now. There's a huge thing about Nestle in Canada because they are taking water from the municipal water source and bottling it and selling it back to us. Like, they get the water for free, and we have to pay to maintain the municipal water source and everything. But Nestle bottles it and sells it. Yeah, something wrong there. Anyway, I knew that I had heard about this before, that they're buying up the water supplies. They are buying the rights to water worldwide. Now, it says, we also know that the New World Order will tightly control all resources, including drinking water, in order to subdue the earth. The one world government will use any and all means to subjugate all kindreds and tongues and nations. That includes control of drinkable water. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. We know that they'll begin to sabotage. What's this? We also know that they will blame the sabotage on the ever popular global warming, climate change, whatever. And that's exactly what they're saying. All the sources that I read warning about the shortage of water said it was because it was global change and climate change, global warming, all of them. So interesting that so many sources have been saying basically the same thing. Watch the water. Very interesting. Now, let me go back here. Now, this was from, oops, oh, come on. I hope it takes me out to the, yeah, here we are. If it ever pops up. La, 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 da, 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 da. Yeah. I could finish writing my thesis in the time it takes to pop up. Come on. What are you doing? If you talk to it, sometimes it gets better. Okay, well, this is not going to let me go out there. But basically, it is saying that what I just said, that the world's wealthy is buying up the water supply. And that is definitely not a good thing. Yeah, it says, profiting from your thirst as global elite rush to control water worldwide. And that's not the only source. There's all sorts of sources you can find that on if you, I was going to say Google it, but if you DuckDuckGo it, I'd rather say DuckDuckGo it because it just sounds cool. Anyway, so that's pretty alarming. Why are they buying up our water? Probably the same reason why they're buying up, why Monsanto is got patents on seeds, so that, they don't want you to be planting something that can produce after its own kind. They want you to have to come back to them for the seeds, because then they control you, right? If you have to depend on them for your food, they control you. And the other thing I wonder about is, if a famine ever came to America, people would line up to give up their guns, because what they would do is they'd say, trade your guns for food. And I'm pretty sure, if you're starving or you're watching your baby starve, you're going to do it. So that, I've wondered about that many times, because they will never, ever get Americans to give up their guns, because Americans are smarter than that, and it's in their Constitution. It's part of America. It's always been part of America. So anyway, now I'm going to, I hope you don't get whiplash, but we're going back to the internet censorship here for a minute, okay? So I want to take you out here. And Obama secret MIT speech calls for internet censorship. And look at the date on this, February 27th, 2018. So what does he know? That's when we're right in the heat of this right now. And here he's at MIT giving a speech that calls for internet censorship. Well, I find that interesting. It just confirms everything we know, but it's interesting. Of course, the liberals would say, oh, that doesn't mean anything. But, they've planned this. Come on. And it's odd because they remark on him wearing a tan suit. And that's correct. I've never seen him wear anything but a dark suit, ever. And he's in a tan suit. And I wonder why. Because things like that do matter. These guys have publicists and everything that tell them, like, what they do, everything they do is for a purpose. What they wear, everything. It's all part of everything, part of the image they project. So it does mean something. What it means, I don't know. Okay. Noises like this have emerged out of Obama's censor hole before. Censor hole. But he's been clearer about it now in that secret MIT speech that no one was supposed to ever talk about. Much of it is the usual glad-handling nonsense, but there are some deeply troubling lines. Obama described social media platforms as a hugely powerful potential force for good, but then immediately hedged. What's also true is that our social media platforms are just a tool, he said. ISIS can use that tool. Neo-Nazis can use that tool. I think that ISIS used this tool right here. That's the tool that ISIS used, right there. Him, in the tan suit. That's the tool that ISIS used. Okay, I'm over it now, okay? I'm over it. I had a little brief period of, but I'm over it. I'm back, and I'm calm. That is, of course, true of speech in general. Well, it's true of anything in general. The same $5 bill can buy, a man a meal, or buy some milk for the baby, can buy some crack cocaine. Well, I don't think you can buy crack cocaine for $5. I have no idea because I don't do drugs. But you see my point. Anything is like that. So I do think the large platforms, Google and Facebook, being the most obvious, Twitter and others as well, are part of that ecosystem. Have to have a conversation about their business model that recognizes they are a public good as well as a commercial enterprise. Describing Facebook and Google as a public good is an interesting legal perspective, one that makes Google and Facebook a little gladder that Obama is no longer in the White House. This is Fox News versus the New York Times editorial page. If you look at these different sources of information, they do not describe the same thing. In some cases, they don't even talk about the same thing. And so it is very difficult to figure out how democracy works over the long term in those circumstances. Is Obama under the impression that we didn't have a deeply divided press in the past? We did, and it worked quite well. They do not describe the same thing. In some cases, they don't even talk about the same thing, is how an actual free press is meant to work. Obama is moaning because he wants a return to the glory days of the media monopoly. Media giants like Facebook and Google should keep in mind that the U.S. government has a role to play in ensuring there are basic rules of the road in place that create level playing fields. We're from the government and we're here to create a level playing field. Yeah. Beyond the public good line being described as media giants has to be making Facebook and Google execs nervous. But what exactly are these rules of the road or the level playing field? And just what would this government intervention involve? And those are questions that would need to be answered. And of course, when he's saying we need to level the playing field, what he means is we don't want their message to get through because their message is bad. They're bad people. They're racist people. They're ignorant people. They're intolerant people. They're hateful people, pointing to us. Anybody that disagrees with them is a racist, hateful, intolerant person. And so ours is the voice that they want to silence, and the reason is, you think about it. Think of the disadvantage in an election if both sides can't be heard. Well, Trump, if Trump hadn't had Twitter and Google and, Facebook and all that, really, social media is what got him in. It really is. And if that hadn't been available to him, we wouldn't have him as a president right now. I can assure you we would be, I don't even want to think about it. So, yeah, it's a huge disadvantage. And that's their purpose. They have to silence us. Yeah. So, anyway, I wanted to show you that. And actually, I have one other thing I'm going to show you right quick that's interesting, that I think you might be interested in, that I found in my perusing through the news today. Oh, yes, here's a tweet by, I always want to call it, here's a twit by, but Jerome Corsi, of course, isn't not a twit. But Twitter purges thousands of followers from conservatives, and of course we know that. And then he says, Q sends warning to Jack Dorsey at Twitter in advance of AG Sessions announcing cybersecurity election study. Hunters become hunted. So he's just pointing that out, and I thought that was a good post, so I copied it. And here is something else. Let me make this bigger. I know you've all heard about this. You have to have. Oh, come on. Hang on. Let me get this bigger. There we go. I want you guys to be able to see it. Alrighty. Now, someone put this together and they did a mighty fine job, if you ask me. Breitbart, of course, you know who Breitbart is, died of heart failure. Well, he died. Yeah, that's what they say. Early on, did John Podesta imagine his baby at MMFA would be covering up for his underage sex slave ops and hate crimes against blacks? Now, this is why he died. Okay, these tweets here, that's why he died. Because he was outing Podesta. And he was outing him in a big way. And so here's another tweet. How program guru John Podesta isn't household name as world-class underage sex slave cover-upper defending unspeakable dregs escapes me. That's a pretty scathing tweet. And probably one of the reasons that Twitter no longer gives any of us a voice. And I'm not blaming him for that. I mean, that's Twitter's, but they want to silence. If you're speaking out the truth or you're trying to uncover something, they want to silence you. So then the next tweet, how much longer until they kill me, heart attack, or car accident, or frame me for a crime? Read me while you can. So he was aware. He was aware of what they could do and what they were capable of and what they would probably do to him. And he was right. And how much longer until they kill me? Heart attack. And then this points down to here where it says cause of death, heart failure due to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is basically a fancy way of saying enlarged heart. But we don't know that heart attack gun, what that does. We know that it exists. It's a known fact that it exists, but how it works on the body, I don't know. Maybe some of you do. Anyway, Andrew James Breitbart, was an American entrepreneur, conservative publisher, commentator for the Washington Times, media critic, journalist, author, and television and radio personality on various news programs, who served as an editor for the Drudge Report website. He was a researcher for and close friends of Arianna Huffington, and he helped create an early version of the Huffington Post. He was born 1969, which makes him... I don't know, I'm horrible at math. Sorry, my phone is vibrating here. Hang on. And I'll call that person back later. Okay. So, yeah. And let me go up here. What a coincidence. Breitbart's Corner dead from arsenic poisoning. So, yeah. Isn't that interesting? Breitbart dies, and then his corner dies from, of all things, arsenic poisoning. That's odd. I'm just saying. It's odd. So, that's that. And I wanted to show that to you guys. I thought it was very well done, the way they laid that all out, and makes it pretty clear. So, anyway, I'm going to... keep abreast of the Q developments, and I will let you know. I'll post whenever I have anything, and I may post too if there's anything interesting that's going on or that I think that you guys need to know. I'll post. Also, I may go back to some of the older ones. I don't know. But if you guys have any suggestions of things that you'd like to see me look into, or maybe more depth given to some things that we've touched on, then let me know. I'm open. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate you guys. I really do, and I'm thankful for you as my listeners. I have very, very kind people listening to this. So anyway, I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.